Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good day I bid to my respected panels. My name is Muhammad Helmi bin Zainon and my supervisor is Prof. IR Dr. Muhammad Azmi Ayub. Welcome to my presentation. So today I'm going to present about my FYP entitled Automated Face Recognition Using Artificial Intelligence. So let's begin with the introduction. What is face recognition? Face recognition is a biometric identification technology that recognizes a person's identity by using their face and picks out the details on the face such as the distance between eyes, the width of the lip, and the distance from lips to nose. It is widely used in image processing fields such as biometric security system and attendance system. So in my project, I'm using convolutional neural network as the mathematical algorithm, and as we know, convolutional neural network consists of three layers that are input layers, middle layer, and the output layer. The software that I'm using for this project is MATLAB. I'm using this software because it is built in convolution function and 2D convolution function. 2D convolution function can be applied in image processing that is useful to compare the input of the convolution directly to the output. Next, the problem statement. What problems that inspired me to do this project? So as we all know, in the early January of 2020, a new infectious virus was discovered in the world. During this pandemic, people are mandated by law to cover their face with face masks whenever they go to protect themselves from the virus. However, by wearing face masks, most of the face features is being covered, making it more difficult to identify the person's identity. So this project will look on the capability of convolutional neural network techniques to identify people when wearing face masks. Next, the objective. What needs to be achieved in this project? So the first one is I want to study facial recognition for partially occluded face masks using convolutional neural network algorithm. The second one is I want to formulate the mathematical algorithm for identifying the person who wear face mask. Finally, I want to evaluate the performance in determining the correct identification using convolutional neural network algorithm. Up next is the scope of this project. So this project is mainly using MATLAB software to apply with convolutional neural network technique. So the first one is by setting up the input dataset, which is faces with face mask and faces without face mask. While running this test, there are different variables that need to be considered, such as the number of hidden layers in convolution, ReLU, and pooling. So in order to get the best result, we need to consider these variables while setting up the testing. We move on to the literature review. For this part, I'm gonna talk about facial recognition timeline and the recognition rate using convolutional neural network. So how do we take that leap from science fiction to science fact? So those in the tech world should credit the inception of facial recognition technology to Woodrow Wilson Bledsoe in the 1960s, who used the RAND tablet to manually plot points on grid that could identify facial features. In 1970s, the technology evolved into a system of 21 facial markers that were able to identify facial details. In 1980s, L. Sirovic and M. Kirby developed the eigen face approach, used linear algebra, and showed the exact number of values required to accurately code a facial image. In 1990, Matthew Turk and Alex Penland used the eigenface method and evolved it to the first automated face recognition system and able to detect faces within images. In the late 1990s, DARPA initiated the Ferret program, and it is the first database for facial recognition. Next, in 2010, social media Facebook developed the facial recognition software used to identify users' face in uploaded photos. Lastly, in 2017, Apple's Face ID technology was released through iPhone X and allowed its users to unlock devices, access passwords, and pay their bills using Apple Pay. Next one is the recognition rate using convolutional neural network. According to a research took on two different face library, Yale and ORL, tested using 5 different algorithms, the experiment result came out that convolutional neural network scored the highest recognition rate compared to the others because convolutional neural network simplify the number of parameters in neural network. Now, we proceed to the methodology of this project. In order to achieve the goals, there are a few steps need to be done. This methodology process is based on article reading, tests on different variables, and comparing different results to study the performance of the developed convolutional neural network algorithm. And this is the research methodology flowchart. We start with doing background research on the project. Next, identify the objective and scope of the project. Research and article reading related to the project. And identify the best possible way based on the study. Train and test the system using mathematical algorithm. Optimize the algorithm along with parameter accuracy, and the last one is make a conclusion. And this is the basic process of convolutional neural network. And this is the basic process of convolutional neural network. So at the input, this data will act like a memory to the system and is used to train the convolutional neural network algorithm. Next, the convolution. The convolution is the first layer to process and extract the detailed features from the input image. Next is ReLU. ReLU is also known as rectified linear unit. The aim of ReLU is to introduce non-linearity to the CNN. Next one is pooling. So the purpose of pooling is to reduce the size of image and is useful to extract the dominant features of an image such as rotation and positioning. Then fully connected layer. Fully connected layer is used to flatten the output of the convolution and the pooling layer to be in one vector size. So after all the steps has been done, the output can be decided. Now we move on to the expected result. So this project result is expected to recognize a person identity, either he or she is wearing a face mask or not, and then able to recognize who is behind the face mask based on the input data. So by the end of the result, the text name with face mask or name without face mask will appear as the output. Now, we move to the last part, which is the preliminary result. The first step is by preparing the dataset of images. So this step is taken by taking photos of faces with or without face mask from different angles. So on the left side is the sample of input dataset of faces with face mask, while on the right side shown the input dataset of faces without face mask. Then, the sample of 44 images is combined to form a dataset. The sample and then will be analyzed using convolutional neural network function in MATLAB software to test the accuracy of CNN architecture. So in order to achieve the accuracy on the validation data, you have to train the algorithm by adjusting and fixing the variable and parameter, and these pictures shown the result using 44 images of myself. As the conclusion, or I can say my future planning for next semester, I will increase the number of samples by adding more faces or adding more people into this project to make it more reliable to be used in the real world. And then my laptop that I use to run this project is a daily use 4GB RAM. So to fasten the process of testing, I need to improve the spec, and I think this can be a huge impact. And these are the references of the diagram and pictures in the slides. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you for listening and watching my FYP1 presentation. I hope you guys have a blessing day and Assalamualaikum.